So today I want to share a story with you that it includes a story, but it's also some teaching components that I wrote quite a while ago. It's called The Vorpal Sword, and the subtitle is Working with Our Boogeymen. This has been a blog that I wrote quite a while ago, but I just wanted to read it to you because it's actually a piece of mine that I wrote that I really like. So, our paradigms are the belief systems that run us. Many of you that have been in class with me know that the boogeymen equate our paradigms. And the ones that are boogeymen are the ones that we want to change because we don't like the direction that they are taking us. I am myself constantly doing this work and looking at my own boogeymen, right? Over the last few days, when I've been imagining my own boogeyman arising, I keep thinking about the Vorpal Sword. If you don't know about the Vorpal Sword, it's from Alice in Wonderland. It's actually part of the Jabberwocky poem. "'Twas Brillage and the slithery tubes did gyre and gimble in ye wabe." I memorized that poem in high school. In the latest Alice movie that came out, Alice actually goes to fight the monsters. She uses the Vorpal Sword, and this is a magic sword that can actually slice through imagination and slice through the invisible, what we don't always see. Get it? It slices through the invisible, what we don't always see. So it's a great tool to have to slice through our boogeymen, which is our thought processes or paradigms, the ones that are limiting us. The imaginal work is a great process for personal discovery. So in my imaginal work, I went on a journey and I found the Vorpal Sword. This is all in my imagination. I try to pick up my Vorpal Sword and it's so heavy that I can't lift it. And I think to myself, first I need to do something that I've been successful at doing. What a great idea. And this is where our assets come in. We look at the tools, the things that we have accomplished in our lives. This is areas that we've been successful at, right? For example, this week, Aaron, my son, had some scheduling issues and challenges with school. I worked with him and helped to empower him to make some really good decisions. Part of it was to find out what options and things were available to him. I felt like a warrior going to take care of my son, right? I imagined these white stairs going up to the challenge where the boogeymen had resided, which were the problems with Aaron's schedule, right? Here I was, kind of mama bear, but soldier in this image, right? I had to drag this heavy sword up those stairs. But once I got up to the top, I knew that this was for my son. I could then conjure all the power and energy, and I could wield the sword. I picked it up and I slew the dragons. I walked back down the stairs and I looked back up to the top of the stairs, and there was my son shining in his shining white armor, being the winner. And I thought, oh, good, I have the courage and I can see that I can do this. I looked up at the big dark stairway going up, and behind them were many other boogeymen, and they were ugly, and they were vicious, and they were nasty, and they had gnashing of their teeth. Not only were they gnashing their teeth, they had images of me in their teeth, and they were flipping me up in the air, clumping down on me. And I was just like a rag doll in their mouth. I saw multiple images of myself up there. I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I really can't do this. I don't have the courage. I'm not as strong as I thought I could. I'm not as strong as I thought I was. Then I thought, okay, I can do this. I built myself a platform, like my safe place, but it was only about 3 stairs up. And I dragged the Vorpal Sword up there. And I thought, what can I manage? One of the boogeymen is that I care what other people think of me. right? How many of us have that as a paradigm, right? That we care too much of what other people think of us. And I have this image of people throwing things at me, disregarding what I have to say, telling me that they don't care what I have and what I have to say. Just brain chatter. We all have our little brain chatter. What do we do with it? Well, that's where we are at choice. So in this imagery experience that I had, I looked out at this audience, and they were ugly, they were nasty, and they had drool coming out of their mouths. Since my son is so into zombies, I imagined that they all looked like zombies. I had to compose myself again. What can I do? I asked myself again. My imaginal work this time is all based on media images. Most of us have seen or read Alice in Wonderland. I don't know if any of you have ever watched Northern Exposure, which is an old TV series. There was one scene in the episode in which a story was being told about a woman who, back in the days where they were mining gold, went into the village and actually, through her dance, her movement, and her love, transformed all the people in the audience. When she first went out on the stage, they were hooting and hollering at her and throwing things at her, and she began her dance. It was so much from her heart, so much from her internal place of beauty, that they all started quieting down. And pretty soon, they all fall in love with her. And the city becomes beautiful and idyllic. So I imagined myself as this woman, and I imagined this crowd becoming beautiful, supportive, and proud of me. I thought, okay, I've got two things. One, I've got something that I've accomplished. And two, I see that I have support around me. That's the shape. That's the assets. That's the one we have to, that's who we have to support us. I'm standing on the platform. I'm looking at the ugly gray stairs and the monster gnashing above them. And I begin to feel defeated again. I stood there and I thought, I can't do this. Then all of a sudden I felt someone from the audience come up and reach around and put their hand on my heart. And I feel my love, and I feel their love. I feel this heart love. And it starts to fill me up. And then someone else from the audience comes and they help me pick up that Vorpal sword. Their hand went onto my hand to help me lift this sword. And as I did this, the same kind of experience I had on the mountaintop that time, a rush of energy came up from the ground, from the source, and into Star Wars, and it became the lightsaber. The light comes into the sword, and I realize of myself I can do nothing. And I have the sense of energy, and I can go and I can climb up those stairs. But I thought that I don't really want to slay them. But then I remind myself that this is an imaginal process, and these are my bigger boogeymen, and this is about transformation. And that's what the Vorpal sword does. It's magic. It transforms things. So I cut up these dragons, and the bits of the dragons fall into the lake, and my bodies and the bodies fall into the lake, and they look like Ophelia lying there. It did feel like it was becoming a lake, turning into something beautiful. But what's so wonderful about this work is to continue being in the work. See, we can take those boogeymen and we can use our imaginary Vorpal sword to slice through them. But we can let them fall into a beautiful lake and transform and become up out of the waters, become something that's really beautiful and that can help us. Because in the problem is always an amazing solution. And that's why we want to work on transforming what's holding us back into something that can be like the lightsaber, like the Vorpal sword, and help us come into transformation.